everyone, Toronto. What you see here is what's on the line here today, the North American Summer Championship. Cloud9 right now leading this best of 5 against TSM. The unexpected winner, Cloud9, the 3rd seed, unexpected semifinal winner, won that series now against the #1 team, TSM, who went 17-1. C9 took it.
And a lot of Game 1 came down to individual outplays and outplaying each other's lane opponents. You know, Jensen with the solo kill in mid lane to start things off, earns an approving nod there from Riv.
Yeah, it's a good kill.
Yeah, exactly. And then in the bot lane, they get 2v2 kill there. You even heard in that replay, you know, Impact's almost solo killing top lane, forcing out summoners on his own as well.
They won every single lane, and C9 does appear to be getting better and better. But for TSM, I feel like they need to find a way to make the game faster. They had the fastest average game time in the regular season at 32 minutes, and they are averaging 40-minute games during the playoffs. That was another example where I feel like TSM got trapped in the laning phase and could never actually manufacture any type of macro decisions. They need to play a strong laning phase, they need to get out of it quick, and they need to push the aggression onto C9, and I think that's the way, if TSM wants to get back in the series, that they have to do it.
We'll see if they can haste it up a little bit, but right now it's been a few splits since C9 has actually been running for the championship, but of course now they are. And Sneaky shares a few reasons he's happy to be back in the finals.
It would mean a lot to me, getting another title, because there's just been this long period of time where I wasn't involved. We didn't even go to playoffs at all summer last year. Only went to the first round, spring split, and now I'm here again, finally back in the finals. So it would mean a lot for my career and just maybe what people think of me. I've been getting a lot of memes as of recent about my laning phase. It doesn't really mean anything, but it's just there's memes and I could destroy them.
And he did! 2 solo kills. That's a way to answer it right off the bat.
Solo kills unfair.
Yeah.
Duo kills. Smoothie helps.
Solo kills? No, two kills.
Yeah.
Duo kills, whatever. It was a laning phase.
Lane phase, yeah.
Specifically, it's been 2 years since he's been able to win. 2014 spring was the last split that Sneaky won in the LCS, and now he's watched TSM win 2, and then CLG win 2, and now that he's back and up 1-0, 2 more games, it's got to feel good.
Definitely does. I mean, honestly, he starts this series out with a win. That's always got to feel good. And now 2 more, and Cloud9 could once again be champions, their 3rd time in 5 tries now. It would be. Champs like about to ready to go, and it's going to be fun.
Sneaky in lane can mean a whole different thing.
Sneaky laning phase, lol.
Yeah.
Every time he gets a kill.
Exactly, there you go.
There you go.
It's where the tons of damage meme even came from for me. I used it like 17 times in the original York champion spotlight. It was a dumpster fire on release, now getting remade in a lot better shape, but it became a positive thing. So Sneaky's laning phase, well, how about a double kill onto double it from Battlefront? Feels good.
All right, so Tom Kench, 1 change already coming through here. TSM obviously feeling that they need to ban this away from Smoothie.
What's the funny thing is, TSM had actually received 3 straight Tom Kench bans in their series against CLG, and C9 was like, yeah, go ahead and play the champion, we don't care, pick it up whenever you want, and then, you know, come back with it. And
it's also very interesting to see that C9 is willing to give Vladimir over as a first pick to get kind of 2 OPs in his answer, but they're not willing to give it away in the second part of the draft. So this to me tells me that they don't want to get the champion for Jensen. They don't actually care about it enough to first pick it, so they're not willing to give it away.
Yeah, and there's actually rumors that it's not a real part of Jensen's champion pool. They have not been prioritizing it in playoffs. They've been banning it a lot in playoffs as well. And it's one thing that maybe TSM can use to work around them, but like, basically this means if TSM is blue side again, maybe they don't first pick Vladimir and they force him to ban it away. But for now, Cinder ban, and our first pick has a lot of value.
Our first pick for Impact, no one's really surprised here. It's been one of his very best champions. You know, Shen was on the table as well for him, but with all the top lane bans pretty much gone here aside from Gangplank, he says, Gnar, the cream of the crop, he's who I want to play. He's good against the rest of the matchups. We'll wait for the rest of these picks.
And flashback to the semifinals against Huni, he was getting solo kills and even 1v2 kills against them on this Gnar. He was doing so incredibly well, and people had to respect that and had to potentially ban it away from him. This time it gets through the draft. We'll see if Impact can make TSM fear it, like they made Immortals fear it.
TSM only really taking away 1 pick right here. You can see they've realized that there's no early obvious picks in the mid lane. They weren't willing to go for the early trundle that C9 had gone for in the earlier game this series. Instead, they put the Jhin back on a double to say this time we get the Rek'Sai. It's going to be better for us this time.
Yeah, very early in the draft as well. If we think about the last draft, it was actually in the 3rd and 4th pick slots on the red side that the Rek'Sai ended up going.
Yeah.
TSM doesn't really show too much. They're just making sure they're still keeping Jhin away from Sneaky. They're decently happy about Double's play, and it's mainly the jungle priority. The question will be whether or not they put any attention towards Impact, who has been such an asset for Cloud9, creating pressure with absolutely no help.
and I think it's a question for both teams, right? As Meteos, do you help to actually snowball that? Because it's something that they have not put on priority either. They've been very willing to just let Impact play by himself, create his own advantages, survive on his own, even when he's getting focused. And, you know, Meteos going top lane could be a bit of a surprise for some of these teams.
Also add on top of this, whatever Hanser picks in the top lane will also be vulnerable to support Trundle's ult in the late game. So he's going to have struggling times in the laning phase, and then maybe even struggling times in team fights. So even though C9 isn't directly helping Impact in game, they are actually helping him fairly substantially through the draft.
Right, giving him the safest blind pick to go for. Let him get that one, make the matchup look good. And this time around, Bjergsen to grab the Cassiopeia, which is interesting in that C9 would have had to blind pick their mid laner, but now TSM give them the chance to counter pick it. And with how much they were delaying their mid lane pick before, I find that kind of interesting.
I actually really like taking away the Cassiopeia, specifically because you have this 3-man tanky squad. And I think that the mid laner that fits that best is the Cassiopeia, because you need a massive amount of damage coming out, consistent damage from both mid laners. Someone else who can do that, though, is Vel'Koz, and he's going to lock it in.
More backline, more range. Vel'Koz for Jensen.
I was just pulling up my tier list of like what are really high DPS damage mid laners you could throw in. Maybe you could have been seeing something like a Malzahar, but the Vel'Koz has been a pick that he's been able to pull out in the past. We saw it yesterday. We talked about the small meta these guys will have been developing through scrims. Vel'Koz worked real well for Huhi yesterday. Now we get to see it from Jensen.
One thing, I had a chance to talk to Jensen about the Vel'Koz, and one of his concerns with this champion is he thinks the laning phase is great, but he always feels like because you cannot build defensively on this character, Abyssal does not work well, Roa does not work well, you're always susceptible to these ganks, and your jungler has to pay a lot of attention to you to babysit you a bit because of that.
And luckily, because they already saw the Cassiopeia, he's not up against an assassin in which Abyssal Scepter will benefit him. So that is the counter-pick value that they're able to get. So yes, TSM does deny him Cassiopeia, but they also pick him into one of the more favorable matchups because he doesn't have to worry about being hit by an assassin.
And definitely the case here. So Jensen finding a mid laner for himself, but of course we have seen how good Cassiopeia Rek'Sai can be from game 1 here. Different matchup, of course, but we'll see how it plays out. Another echo through for Hanser. There's a different tank for Battlefront with Tahm Kench banned away. Even though Taric could have been fun, he's got to go for the Braum to hold that shield in the front line, to keep the Jhin, to keep the Cassio safe. And it is another sort of two-threat comp with Hanser maybe pitching in based on how he does. He can kind of jump between being a tank and being a real damage threat and being a diver based on how the game goes and how his laning phase looks. And we are ready to go into game 2 as the coaches shake hands. We are ready to get this one started and get game 2 underway. So show us your LCS fan support at home. Support your team. Send us photos of your battle station with the team, with all your battle gear, whether it's TSM, C9s, whatever it is. Hashtag lock in with those tweets. Let us know how swagged out, how decked out you are, because game 2 is underway as we continue to find out who is the best team in North America.
Pretty decked out here, sold out for the finals at the Air Canada Center. It is incredibly loud for us in here. Game 1 going to C9. A lot of people favoring TSM here, but it's a long series as well. TSM actually made a playoff run a couple years back where they dropped the first game of every series and then ended up winning the next 3. So both these teams need to have strong mentalities, take it game by game, and we're into this one.
And in C9, you can't expect to always get those advantages in lane. It's often TSM that are carving out those edges, so we'll see how this one's going to go.
Well, you can see a deep invade by TSM right now heading down. A Trinket Ward will spot whether the Krugs start by a jungler or the duo lane. Sneaky hides in the brush, sees it goes down. Svenskeren saying, don't you dare ward my jungle, and so Jensen doesn't.
Yeah, another defensive line-ish start right here, but getting that one deep ward is pretty nice. It's all about trying to read where the very early jungle paths start. Because a lot of times, since the lane swap changes, the junglers are kind of doing a double buff rush and then trying to get control of the bottom lane scuttle crab. So by getting that ward in at the Krugs, they can kind of surmise whether or not Svenskeren starts at red or if he starts at Krugs, and that can tell you a little bit about his path.
Would also be pretty interesting to see if there's any sort of aggressive pathing towards mid lane, because Gragas is a very explosive early ganker, and if you can land a body slam flash onto Bjergsen, follow that up with Jensen's stun, there's a lot of potential there to get a kill.
And right now you're going to see that all the jungle starts are accounted for. C9 can see that TSM has started Krugs with their top laner and jungler, and a similar ward on the Krugs shows that C9 are using Krugs for their dual lane, which you can pretty much always deduce the fact that Meteos has started Gromp by the left-hand side. So both junglers starting top side, You can do a quick 3 camp and be top again at level 3 early on, but most typically they'll be bottom side around 3 minutes in, and be careful where you are in the lane when that happens.
Both dual lanes also took a camp and arrived at exactly the same time, so even start for them. Level 2 gets hit by both marksmen very quickly, but it is C9 with a very early shove. I'm expecting some fireworks in this bottom lane here based on what happened last game.
Yeah, if you talk to Matt from the support stream over the weekend, the prior one, he said you basically try to shove in the first 2 waves if you're the push lead, and then have the third one bounce back toward you. Now the lane is going towards your turret, now your opponents are overextending, right at the time your junglers are coming out of their level 3 camps.
And Bjergsen actually gets a pretty deep ward there over by the rafters, so moving up himself, warding that out, he will be able to spawn out Meteos there, and there's the pings. They know exactly where the Cloud9 jungler is.
Valuable information to know what he's up to right now is he's got so far a fairly equal trade of resources all said and done, but it does mean you at least know what the next possible routes are going to be. Nice damage out from Hans. They're actually getting a much better side of the trade, but then Elite makes it a lot closer.
Yeah, and that type of aggression can be played in that lane because of the wards that Smoothie had just gone and found, so he knew he was pretty safe to try and bully Hanser a little bit.
You saw the early blue buff handoff, just like we saw in game 1 to C9's benefit. Now it's Bjergsen's Cassiopeia who gets an early blue buff. Jensen is going to have to respect the oodles of mana coming out of Cassiopeia, which means heavy pushing if she wants it, or it could just simply mean the mana to always go for an all-in, and you can see the threat right there. Nice by Svenskeren. Yeah, that's what an early ward will do. I mean, even just double if saying, hey, they took Krugs, will let you know, but simply timing the fact that this is how long the camp's going to take to respawn, be there to counter jungle it, good jungling.
Really nicely done by Svenskeren, and this could set up a mid lane gank because he's kind of snuck in there undetected while Svenskeren is off on the other side.
An impact with a very early base and a TP back to
There's
lane.
the gank.
There's the gank.
First knockup flash comes in, Jensen flashes the follow, but here comes the re-engage! The burn down, the poison, it's gonna take him out! And a first blood comes through for Bjergsen!
Bjergsen strikes back with a lot of help from his jungle Svenskeren there. Flash knockup, they get both summoners, but they burn 3 as well on their own side. The early blue buff, the entire early game, the counter jungle from Sven, that all led up to that moment, and it gives TSM an edge.
Gives him a big edge, and if Jensen had landed that stun, it could have been a first blood going the other way. He was so close to actually landing those skill shots. Doesn't go his way, though.
Oh, yeah! Better right-clicking by Meteos, got close to do it. The smite didn't quite land on either front. But of course, a very good start for the TSM mid laner. So far, so good. The Cassiopeia blind pick paying out nicely. Just a great flash knockup, and the debilitating poison, of course, guaranteeing Jets couldn't flash out early.
And here it is again. Svenskeren with such nice pathing, full commitment to that. And look at those skill shots, just barely missing. The turret was on him. If he lands that stun, he gets the kill.
And I also do think it's critical that Bjergsen ghosted during that. It gave him more move speed with which to sidestep the skill shot at the end. It was a nice try by Jensen, but at the end of the day, he's in the reverse of the matchup he just got to play. It's an early tier for the Cassiopeia and potentially a lot of bullying in this lane for Bjergsen. He's level 5
to 4.
For a second, I thought he's level 6. My angle was wrong. I was like, oh my god, 2 levels. But just the one. He will hit 6 first, and that'll be big.
It's also, the wave is pushing slowly towards Bjergsen, and Svenskeren down here again. Could look to return. Low on HP, though. Probably has to base first.
Oh. Sven, of course, knew Meteos is coming. Tremor Sense helping with that. Meteos says there's a ward. Give me that money. Give me that experience. Push them back out of the jungle. TSM have managed to find a faster-paced game. Their dual lane actually up farm right now, +5. Hans actually losing his lane, but you've seen him able to trade aggressively against Impact. And of course, that kill by Bjergsen, hey, 2 out of 3 lanes winning is a good thing for TSM.
And Hanser got a better buy as well with his TP. He gets more items, more power here, has that kind of triple early game item start, and this should be able to help him get through this lane very well.
Yeah, and he also has to kind of infer a playstyle against C9. Like, how long do you have to watch Meteos not be top lane before you go aggressive? Because there's always in the back of your head, maybe Impact's playing so aggressive because he actually has his jungler here this time. But it hasn't seemed to happen over and over again. And as we say it, both junglers are actually pathing up towards the top side.
Svenskeren sees that level 6s are here, and it's a nice time to all in. Oftentimes, 6 minutes in, the ultimates come in for the solo laners. Jensen, of course, missing his until just now, as he was pushed out of lane by the earlier death.
These two junglers have been tracking each other so well, battling back and forth, always having the confidence to get in their opponent's faces, to get the counter jungling and that deep vision. And it really is a lot of this kind of mental duel back and forth between these guys.
And I will say, Svenskeren put a lot of resources into that first gank. His CS is very low for 7 minutes into the game on the rec side. He has the TM out, so he'll want to power farm a little bit. But with a level disadvantage, if Meteos keeps tracking him, he can kind of make it so that Tiamat doesn't give the farm advantage you normally see on a rec side.
Right, individually, Svenskeren and Meteos have the exact same goal, but Svenskeren had a 200 gold first blood, right? The assist there, worth a lot of money. And it's been, as you mentioned, a kind of a difference in farms. So Svenskeren might be able to catch up. He goes for his red buff.
Look at this extremely defensive buy here from Bjergsen. He knows he was summerless, he didn't want to risk getting taken out, and he actually picks up a giant spell here. So he's really just having the confidence that he can scale later and doesn't need the power now, just wants to make sure he doesn't give over any kills.
And a lot of that is he doesn't need Morel and Amicon fighting up against a Vladimir or anything, so he's going to go Riley's second item, and didn't have 1250 for the full needlessly large rods. So he's like, well, best item I can get. But it certainly does help the fact that a Gragas flash body slam is probably going to mean death if he doesn't have any extra HP. TSM actually playing, again, a bit more aggressively. The two of them together going into Cloud9's jungle. Svenskeren looking for a deep ward or two. His Trinket's now on cooldown. In fact, he should have known that Meteos is around, so Jensen comes in to help. Prey Seeker won't find much, and this should be Meteos without smite, but without a worry, grabs your red buff.
Yeah, and TSM is also starting to win these mid and bottom lanes by a non-trivial amount, but the dueling will just continue on the top side. With Infernal Drake being the first one up, I think that's pretty critical, but Impact, he wants Answer.
Looking pretty good. The passive stacks come off, and now it's Hansa forced to run away, and TSM making an early push towards this Infernal Drake right now. Gragas had just recalled. I think that was a track that TSM had, knowing that Meteos is not around. That's going to mean an easy fourth shot. 1,000 damage, last hit, better than Smite. Who needs a Callista when you've got Jin? Double knocks down the Drake.
Nice Drake for them, and it's going to be a question here if it really hurts C9, because even though C9 had great control in the first game, throughout the season they haven't. And when asked about it, Reaper does say, like, oftentimes C9 likes to trade that for a tempo event. Meteos went back and got a good buy. What can they get now?
Well, they can get a little bit of damage back and forth with Biofrost shielding up the volley.
We do have to kind of track Meteos here, who has his ultimate available, still has that flash, and that first gank can be a very explosive one from Gragas, has a lot of playmaking potential, especially in combination with Sneaky, this Ash Arrow, if they want to try to move him around and pile in on Bjergsen, who's not playing Cleanse, which sometimes can be really punished by Ashes.
Again, you always got to worry about that one. It's not like he wants to buy a Quicksilver Sash anywhere in this build, of course, so always something to keep in mind. Anytime you have those playmaking tools, gold leads sometimes don't matter. Right now it's only 1,000 anyway, but TSM definitely looking good. That early gank was a very big deal from Svenskeren, and they continue to have priority on the mid lane. I remember one of the things when hosting the mid lane stream way back with Skara and Mark, they were comparing Bjergsen to Jensen, and one of the big things that was so good for Bjergsen is he almost always had priority in the mid lane. He was always roaming first, and he was just there for the side lane pressure, that if they ever had some kind of advantage to pull, which, well, Curtain Call's a pretty good one for that, he's there, ready to make it a 3-on-2, ready to make the gank happen.
One nice thing for Jensen, though, playing Vel'Koz, you have such high amounts of wave clear that even if you are a little bit behind, you can safely sit back, you can clear out those waves with the double W, and it is not a champion that's easy to really kind of bully out.
Yeah, especially with the Giant spell, where Bjergsen's mainly trying to get resilience to ganks. Meteos walking through a pink board, this could be his flash gank.
Body slam, not gonna flash.
He was trying to play a mind game. He actually wanted Bjergsen to flash, expecting the body slam flash, and
yeah,
a lot of
That's
respect.
a dangerous game not to flash if you're Bjergsen right there, but he saves his flash because he was willing to call Meteos on his bluff.
And maybe he has the confidence he can just reactively flash that one, which is pretty crazy.
Flash is instant. You can't reactively flash a flash.
I think Bjergsen knew the exact range body slam flash could reach because he saw him on the pink board, says I'm going to be exactly this range away, and just holds that line and says, if you flash, you're not going to catch me. I know the range is better than you do. If I'm playing in Bjergsen's mind, that's what I'm thinking, is to play at the range where you aren't even available for that option. Either way, though, he makes the right call, does not get flashed on, does not lose his own summoners either. Didn't even go to the safer option if you were afraid and caught unaware, so all summoners up. And the first time Meteos actually walks into a lane, nothing happens.
Very true, and the CS is starting to equalize between him and Svenskeren as well. You speak about the Ash Arrow that could be influencing the rest of the map, but in order for that to happen, I do feel like C9 would need to get some type of priority on the bottom side, because right now I think they have to save the Ash Arrow in case of TSM aggression, since with the Braum and the Jhin, they can get quite aggressive in that dual lane if they get a gank.
Certainly can. both junglers actually down here on the bot side. Jensen's starting to roam as well.
Right now, it's Smoothie getting rid of the board. Here comes Svenskr, and this could be a fight. The support's very low on health. Smoothie's got to run back, and a great flash by Double. Gets away from Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and Svenskr knocked into Smoothie, and here comes the teleport. Hotster's part of this engagement, and Sneaky's getting low. He flashes to stay alive. Impacts in the tray as well, and suddenly Sven's out of health. There's the first kill coming through. Suddenly, it's going to be a lot of kills coming through, but here comes the re-engage. They found one, and no more snipes come through for Double. However, it's still +1. TSM getting a 2-for-1.
And Hotster sneaking around here on the side. They're potentially looking for more, but they will go for that first turret.
Man, what a close fight right there. It was a risky ward for Smoothie to track. He had Meteos behind him, but Doublelift flashing the Ash Arrow does give TSM a little bit of an edge, even with Jensen roaming down with his Ghost. Plus, they get that first turret.
That's a big gold lead.
3,000 for TSM. We can see how it all happens right here.
Yeah, and Smoothie really far up there. They commit to the fight, and Meteos not able to really ult any key targets in. And look at that reactive flash from Doublelift flashing out of that Ash Arrow as Svenskr gets knocked into the team. Doublelift is safe. He's in the back doing lots of damage while Sneaky is already chunked out of the fight.
Now, Hanser came in from a bit of a strange angle, so when he ulted back, he couldn't make it. Right here, though, Doublelift opens up with his ultimate, hits his first, misses his second, and then cancels. I'm really surprised he didn't try to get the last 2 shots off because he may have gotten another kill. Smoothie and Sneaky were both 1 shot away from the kill.
Yeah, surprised me live as well. I thought I'd missed kind of the bullets, but no, he just simply right-clicked and said, I'm Doublelift. I have to right-click my enemies to kill them. Oh.
That's why I waited for the replay, Freak. I was thinking the same thing.
We had the same thought. Like, let's just make sure. Better to be thought an idiot than open your mouth and prove it. Too late.
Your mouse. If you open your mouse and you have a trackball in
fair,
it.
That's what Doublelift did. He moved his mouse and proved it. Just unlucky sometimes.
I really feel like Doublelift isn't playing on top of his game so far. Like, his Jhin looked amazing in the semifinals, but I've seen a lot of missed skill shots from him and some questionable plays in these first 2 games of the series. TSM does have a 3,000 gold lead, though, and it's getting pretty big.
Yeah, that said, I mean, he's up in CS. He's 1-0-1. He's definitely off to a pretty good start this time. They're looking for impact.
Flash chase, 3v1, impact in a bad spot, but he's Mega Gnar, hops around, gets rooted up, a big stun comes through. Meanwhile, Jensen in a bad spot against Bjergsen. The first kill happens in mid lane, and the solo kill. Look at that, another 2 for TSM.
And we said TSM needed to accelerate the pace of the game. Yes, winning lanes helps tremendously with that, but they quickly go to the top lane after taking the bot lane turret, and Bjergsen gets the solo kill.
And that's another blue buff also going over to Svenskr and actually wins the smite fight against Meteos, who hit that button a little bit early. And look at that, 2 turrets to 0. This game, a complete 180 from the prior one. TSM back with a vengeance.
Bjergsen's been working on the mid lane turret. They're going to be able to get turrets all across the map, or at least a lot of damage down here.
Getting out of the laning phase early can be so huge for TSM because when they're at their best, they play faster than any other team. Such a quick rotation in the top lane, and then they didn't lose much on the other side. They technically traded outer turrets in the top and bot lane, and then Svenskr was very quick to assist Bjergsen with that turret take to give him a very large lead.
Yeah, this gold lead is just ballooning. They're almost 5,000 ahead at this point. 15 minutes in, that is nothing to sneeze at.
It definitely looks like the TSM that has been winning North America so far as we watch this top lane fight again.
Yeah, and they have Impact pretty dead to rights. He's trying to gnar all back and kind of live in his turret, but TSM isn't close enough to really draw the turret aggro. Bjergsen also was willing to go right on top of the CC from Jensen because he knew 1 spell would kill. But the important thing to point out about all that is C9 was too far behind on the map play to make anything happen substantial after that. So it was all advantages for TSM.
Beautiful so far by the favorites here in this matchup. #1 seed TSM, 17-1 in regular season matches. And this game looks like the TSM everyone was expecting. This was the year where everyone was like, oh man, North America looks so good. Look how strong Immortals looks. Look how amazing TSM looks. This is maybe North America's chance to do well at Worlds. And then through the semifinal and through game 1 of the series, it didn't look like the same TSM. They were slow, they were afraid, they were waiting for their prey to come to them, and finally, it's back to regular season TSM. Vicious, aggressive, taking their advantages constantly.
Speaking of advantages, top lane now, you know, that was kind of one of those advantages that C9 had, and Impact was able to bully him out, and now it's not happening. Ooh.
Close. Cask, I think he tried to time it against a tunnel. Didn't get it right.
Yep. A little bit too far in. Rift Herald actually being attempted by TSM. This is a very high health objective. Could actually be the catalyst to start a fight here.
Arrow's going to land onto Biofrost, probably one of the best targets TSM could hope for. Pillar to stop the disengage, but it's still tanks in the front line, and all they really achieve, C9, is making TSM get back. Their health bar is pretty good. They've got an Ocean Drake, so they can regen off this objective, and look at that, Biofrost pretty healthy thanks to that one.
TSM moving in now. They're looking for the fight.
Meteos a little bit low. Here comes the damage output. Sven actually forced a flash over the wall. He was on the wrong side of that one. A loss of summoners, but no real curtain call going to land, and going to wait for another one.
We were talking earlier, it's very rare for a team to actually actively go for the Rift Herald, but that's because it's an over 10,000 health objective, and it puts you in a very vulnerable position. C9, despite being down 5,000 gold, we saw pretty actively was able to contest that. Now they go for Bjerg.
Forcing the flash, a good exhaust, a good pillar, and he had to get away from the knockup that Jensen was going to land for sure. He led the target properly. Let's play to share Space Invaders. We're good to go.
Both summoners down, though, for Bjergsen, and Meteos is going to have that ultimate pretty soon here, so they could look to return to him.
Yeah, and that's one of the things is when you play these low mobility champions, the Vel'Koz on one side, the Cassiopeia on the other, your summoner spells are your way to not die. TSM were able to prey on that earlier with their first blood gank, and C9, unfortunately for them, a bit late to the party, but yes, they found that one opening on Bjergsen, but now just Bjergsen plays safely enough, just not going to matter.
And they've already made so many plays around the map, they're kind of resetting towards the next one. Another Infernal Drake would be coming in for TSM, which could really start snowballing them ahead. It's all about spreading out the map in the proper fashion and actually getting their global plays off. They're not in a situation here where they're overmatched in globals like they were in Game 1 when Impact had that Shen ultimate, and this time there's obviously a huge difference with that 5,000 gold.
I think it's pretty interesting to see both supports actually picking up the Swifty boots and kind of giving some respect to how many slows are actually in this game between Rylai's and, you know, Haunter slowing with his Q and Gragas slows and Iceborne Mallet. There's so many things here.
Yeah, and I think some of that could speak to the level of hard CC and how people are actually going to get caught out in this game. Because it could be a Trundle Pillar or a Braum Q or even just a Gnar Frozen Mallet that like actually is enough CC to get a kill.
Yeah.
And Boots of Swiftness are actually better than Mercury Treads in this sense because they're very quickly reapplicable slows, and it makes sense. Look at all the Swiftness boots.
And one of the big things that'll kill you is getting an Explosive Cask behind you. The only scalar on Explosive Cask is, are you within the range where they can get it behind you, yes or no? Right? And things like Cloud Drake, haha, got it in, and things like Swifty boots are going to be really important for making that. Chat smiles.
We did it.
We did it. We got Cloud Drake in. Sorry, guys.
On the other side, Meteos, he's going to be prioritizing playmaking, picking up the Lucidity boots, and I think that's a good way in, especially when you're behind. But just in general, I love those boots on Gragas, giving you the lower summoner cooldown, more CDR, you can have the ultimate and the flash up more often, and ahead or behind, you can take someone out if you land that perfect ultimate.
And that's going to have to be the way that C9 gets back in this game. Meteos has had some tremendous Gragas ultimates in the past, and Cassiopeia is a low mobility target as well as the Jhin that they need to be able to pick off. The very best way for them to do that is with a flash from Meteos.
You've talked a lot about how TSM needs to keep that pace up, and over the last couple minutes, they really have slowed down. The gold lead has actually closed a little bit over the past 5 minutes. They haven't been fighting, they haven't been looking for those kills, and this is where C9 is in their comfort zone. And don't get me wrong, TSM still has control of this game, but you do not want to sit back too long and let these guys scale.
Yeah, the item advantage for Jensen and Bjergsen right now, Bjergsen is way ahead of him with the completed Rylai's Abyssal and a Steer attacking. Jensen just sitting on a Morellonomicon and upgraded boots, nowhere close to his next fully completed item. TSM really want this Infernal Drake to happen more than, faster than a minute and 30 seconds from now.
Sure, of course, but it's not too terribly far away. We'll see if it comes in soon enough. Gold accruing on several members, 1,000 on 4 different people on the map, 2 on C9, 2 on TSM. They'll recall before it's too late for that, but otherwise, yeah, it's been an equal trade of resources. You're seeing the farm kind of equalize in a lot of these lanes. Quick loot and a smoothie. Curtain call gonna land 1 shot of 2, 2 of 3. The 4th one comes in and pegs him right in the back of the head, so Smoothie's low, but he's got a minute to recall before this Drake does spawn. And thing is, TSM have already killed the outer turret, so it's not exactly easy for TSM to take meaningful objectives.
Yeah, it really felt like they pretty much just used that curtain call to get wards. It never really had a substantial kill threat. They did get the wards, and that could prep the Drake, but now they're down a curtain call for when Drake comes up.
Yeah, about a minute and a half on that cooldown, so if they play it quickly, it won't be there for the Drake team fight, but that's just based on how the game goes. Of course, 5,000 gold might be enough to dissuade C9 from standing up to it.
One thing to track too here, Impact is going for that kind of more 1v1 split push type build, building towards the Black Cleaver, and he's looking to get an edge here over Haunster, and if he can do that, that is a way to slow down the game, to spread out the map and try to have C9 just kind of farm their way back into this, because if the gold lead stays the same, the more time passes, the better it is for C9.
And it seems fairly unrealistic that C9 could win a fight at this Drake down 5,000 gold. Impact just popped Meganar as well, so he's going to be mini most likely for this fight. It would be immensely dangerous for C9 to do this. The best case scenario is if C9 can get the mid lane turret while the Drake is happening.
But they're dragging Impact down the map. They could have said, let's go 5-man top and knock down the outer turret that no one's around, but instead they are positioning for
really
this
want
one.
to fight.
Smoothie's at half, runs through the poison. Drake getting lower and lower. Meteos walking forward, can't land the smite. That's going to go over to TSM. They've now got extra stats for this battle. C9 got to walk back out towards the mid lane. They did not find the way in. They couldn't get the steal either. Nothing gained in this trade for C9.
There's a sea of Jhin traps in the way, and they know about the gold discrepancy. I'm very surprised that Impact didn't just immediately turn to that mid lane turret and have the rest of C9 try to get TSM to come through a funnel where they'd be vulnerable to Vel'Koz.
It almost felt like they were just trying to have the team there as an insurance policy for Meteos stealing the dragon. If he steals it, if the other team commits to a fight, they can maybe get a return fight, get an advantageous engage, but was not meant to be there for C9. TSM gets the dragon, extending their global advantage.
Yeah, you just have to wonder if a 20-80 chance that Drake is better than just getting, 80% of a mid lane turret's health, or even all of top lane by leaving Impact there and maybe just sending Sneaky for the rest of the damage and, hold the mid lane 3v5. But C9 get nothing for the effort. TSM dedicate 5 people to the river, walk over the Drake, and walk back with control.
Yeah, the Duskblade gets completed by Double Up as well, so they're at a big power spike. Only get so many shots if you're Meteos, and that's another miss.
And I feel like you maybe should have committed, right? Maybe you should have gone for the flash there, and had he actually knocked Bjergsen in, it's probably worth even just the summoner trade. If Bjergsen flashes out, you flash in, you have lucidity boots, you have that playmaking ability, and you need to have the confidence to commit to those plays if you're going to get back in.
And Bjergsen couldn't build lucidity boots even if he wanted to.
Yeah.
No way he can match
Snakes
the
don't
flash
wear
cooldown.
boots, Jet.
Snakes don't wear boots. Maybe on your head, I've seen that image, but not the case here. Sometimes a snake is in your boot. I've heard that adage as well. Also not in this game.
Thankfully.
Yeah, just no snakes in our boots. We're good here. We're safe.
That is a very early Guardian Angel for Meteos.
Wow, that is Runic Echo's GA.
Yeah, I do not necessarily agree with that. A lot of times Guardian Angel is better on tanks, but he's not a tank yet, actually. He has his Runic Echoes and a GA.
Yeah, he has like barely 1,000 health. 2,000 health, I take it back.
Yeah.
Still not
maybe,
crazy.
Maybe he just wants to kind of jump into the middle of the team and die to get a good ultimate off. That's pretty much the only thing that will be good for.
Exactly. I think it's kind of just saying, hey, we need to win one big fight. What is a powerful item for the one fight? And he's saying it's the GA, giving him that playmaking ability, maybe the confidence to actually fly in there and sacrifice to try to get a trade with one of TSM's carries.
Yeah, and the thing with that is the team will have to fully commit for those fights because one of the most useless things is when a tank is by himself, dies, and then the whole team waits around him to just revive because then it's a completely wasted item. The team needs to be fighting around him when he goes for that engage.
Definitely agree. Nearly gets the knockup, but a good dodge by Svensker. Meteos did win the smite battle for the blue buff, so he has that himself.
Success.
I know Jensen would have liked it, but not going to be the case here. TSM now looking to siege on this mid lane. Baron is up, but they don't really feel like they can go for it. Instead, they're playing the siege. Pillar does not quite catch the targets he wants. Double lift a little bit low. You imagine if the Pillar were on the other side, it would have forced the flash. And now Meteos can't quite find his way in either. He's got CDR, but he doesn't quite have the move speed for it. And TSM regen up.
Impact was actually looking for a TP in the base there, but there were no wards deep enough to finish off that kill. TSM didn't go for a fight because that ultimate was so effective by Jensen.
And Jensen kind of flexing his muscle a little bit there. That's just 2 items, and this guy has a lot of room to scale. Vel'Koz can really turn around team fights and can turn around games if you get that perfect ultimate. We saw it happening yesterday as well. He had a massive Vel'Koz game, was able to solo kill 80 carries and stuff in some of these team fights, just camping out of the bush, getting the proper ultimate. You can take them down from full.
Well, if that happens, it'll be nice for C9, but they're going to need a while to go. Jensen does not have much money in the account right now. It's going to be several minutes till something like a Void Staff or a Death Cap comes in. So a slow road is the one that C9 hopes TSM are taking, but it looks like the current call coming in, missing 2 shots.
And then he just canceled.
Yeah.
He realized it was Dunzo.
He missed the other 2 as well. You miss the shots you don't take, guys.
If you're Jhin, though, you get some of them back. So
Until 618.
until the next
17, yeah. Until Worlds. Okay, that's not where we are. We're at the trip to Worlds. TSM, while they know they're going to that tournament, they can get the #1 seed from North America if they win this one. C9 have nothing secured in their future. They're either waiting for Final Boss Immortals or CLG, or they just take down TSM and get the spot themselves. But C9 have to win a best of 5 either here or next week to make that trip.
That first seed is so important. Being able to dodge some of these top-tier teams can get you an easier road out of groups into the later stages of the tournament. Building that confidence throughout a tournament can be massive.
Yeah, and that's what TSM's ultimate goal is. They keep saying that throughout the whole year, is to have success at Worlds. But let me tell you, when they're here and they realize they lost in 5 games in the spring for the North American title, and they realize in the Summer Split Finals last year they also lost, like, they really want to win North America as well to get that momentum in Worlds. And also, just to win North America, that's very important. If they don't win this, C9 would tie the organization with 3 NALCS split titles. But if TSM wins, they really solidify themselves as the most dominant organization in North American history.
And it would have meant this could mean 3 straight finals losses for TSM as well, where you get so close and then not quite there. Get close again, not quite there. Get close again, down 1 game in the series, hoping to make it a victory, the 4th for TSM.
This 5K gold lead, almost 30 minutes in. It hasn't changed since 15, but TSM make an aggressive move towards the Baron.
They finally got the vision where they wanted it, and as Baron is dropping rapidly, double Inferno Drake helps a little bit, but a lot of AoE coming across. Svensker is low, so it's Biofrost, and this is going to be Jensen fairly safe, but look out, because here comes the dive. It's a bunch of damage from Hansar, dodges the knockup, here comes Curtain Call, and Hansar gets the assassination. Biofrost low, but the support tank taking all the damage seems fine for TSM. Impact running for his life, Snipe not quite going to land on him. Biofrost gets the kill onto Smoothie, sub-portal combat successful as TSM get 2 for 0.
It is so hard to make an initiation through a Vel'Koz, but TSM manages to pull it off right there, getting just enough damage on Jensen from over the wall.
Maybe looking for a re-engage here, kind of hiding off to the side.
Very low.
Yeah, they decided their tanks were low enough. They had to recall, but still it means 2 kills. That's a nice 900 gold for TSM for their troubles. Mid lane might fall as a response.
Yeah, it's the mid lane tier 1 for C9, and they do stop the Baron, so not too bad. Gold leaves staying about the same still, and I have to give a lot of credit to Haunter for that fight, though. You talked about how hard it is to engage into Vel'Koz. He was the only reason this fight was successful. He was massive in it, and we'll watch this one again. Yeah,
he's on the other side of the map when this starts, so Svenskeren actually walks through the Vel'Koz, has to flash out, and then the interesting thing here is so many times when Echoes come into the fight, when they ult, they go back to their location, but he just was there long enough so that he was able to ult back for the heal and then go in for the assassination.
Exactly, and it's that flash forward that lands it. And Impact missing a couple skill shots on the other side there. Had to get healed, had to get that movement speed to get out, but C9 looking to chase down for kills.
The battle, Impact in the front line, stunned up several times in a row. He needs Mega. No, he's not got it. He's gonna get chopped up, and Double Up is on a killing spree. Haunter's still on the chase. Ult's back, he's totally fine. And no one's really going to die to the life destruction ray. Now the Curtain Call looking for a little bit more. Smoothie to take a couple bullets, but one more might kill him. And it does. 936 knocks him out. TSM, another 2 for 0, another objective. They've got a Mountain Drake.
TSM are playing these fights so well to a nice edge, barely able to survive, always knowing their limits, and they are moving straight to the Baron.
The in and out play by TSM, and specifically Hansar, to take damage, disengage, re-engage with the ultimate from Jhin has been so clean. But even then, they're pretty low. They just have that one Mountain Drake, and C9 want to stop it.
Hansar's flanking.
Well, it's going to be Medius looking for the smite steal. He's trying to try. He's close. 9,000, not going to happen. 900, I should say. And another Baron Nashor secured now for TSM. Jensen, nice kite away from the chair, but it's not enough for him. Hansar's in range, and he takes him out. 10-1 TSM. Another kill, and 5 men with Baron are running down mid.
Hansar wants to make up for that Echo performance he had in Game 1 where he was getting bullied by Shen. Well, he is making a huge impact in this game with his zoning on the Echo.
And with Jensen down, their wave clear tools are very limited here. How are they going to be able to hold these waves against TSM, who's pushing straight for the inhibitor turret?
Looking a lot of damage. The turret's going to go down. Another 4th shot by Double If deals roughly 1.5 million damage without much hyperbole there. 9,000 the lead for TSM, almost 10 as they look for top lane. That's going to actually make it now. Yes, a 5-digit gold lead. TSM up over 10K as they recall and reset and look to tie the series up.
Yeah, watching this origin of the Baron, so to speak, was the extended fight after the Drake. And TSM really just kind of hoping to bait C9 in. Being able to finish off Impact was huge.
It was also critical. Meteos used his ult to try to steal the dragon, then didn't have it for the fight. He had no disengage tools to get Hanser off their backline, and that ult couldn't take him out.
Yeah, the Vel'Koz ultimate also didn't really do much else aside from force his ultimate back, and the long-range re-engage there with the curtain call was huge. No one wanted to step in front of it because they were all also high-priority targets or even higher priority targets that can get killed.
It's just disappointing. Jensen had full health, and I know you don't want to be slowed as the mid laner, but you're not going to die to that shot 100% of the time.
I don't think he died to the shot, but I think he would have died to the team because
Maybe
it's
so.
going to slow him as well as taking half his health, which is, I think, why they ended up having to tank that up.
Unlucky, smoothly unable to dodge that last shot, and Doublelift, much better aim than he's had before, takes out another kill. 4 for him, feels pretty good. TSM looking solid now. Bot lane gone as well. 7-2 in turrets. They are crushing this one by all possible metrics right now.
They've extended the gold lead 6,000 in the past 2 or 3 minutes here, so they finally have made that move and been very successful with it, and C9 is really going to struggle to hold on here.
Yeah, we're only 33 minutes in, and TSM have already won several fights, taken all the objectives, and all seen it as a show for themselves as they took 2 turrets that one time after they lost a fight or lost a turret themselves, and it's just not nearly as good. So TSM looking to tie the series up. It's 95% chance it goes their way. We have seen comebacks, but it's going to require a lot out of Cloud9 to make this upset happen.
Yeah, and I feel like they need to get an incredibly good Gnar ultimate in a fight, as well as getting access to both Bjergsen and Doublelift. But currently in these fights, they haven't been able to do that because Hanser has been keeping C9's damage dealers completely at bay and unavailable to follow.
I wonder if we see Echo Bans later on in the series, because Hanser has done well, at least this game on the champion. Wasn't able to be stopped. Ashero hits the front line. Here comes the damage output. Gets stunned up, though. That was Hanser's doing. And it's going to be Jensen forced to run away. Quick ulti back to stay alive. A knock around. It's Hanser dueling up with Impact. And it's going to be a lot of damage back and forth. Nearly kills out the Echo, but he won't quite get him. Now it's Bio across the front line. Doublelift re-engaging. Gets stunned up, though. That's a big deal. They get rid of the AD carry. And one of TSM's 3 threats is gone. Svenskeren tunnels over the wall, has to flash out. There could be more happening. Hotshot sees the team. And it's going to be, wow, the Deathfire touch of Doublelift takes down Impact. Hanser was able to recall and teleport in. He's got the shield. He's got the chase down. There's the debilitating poison. Doublelift almost drops out. I take it back. It was Biofrost who died, not Doublelift. My apologies for the misspeak, but still, 4v3 now on the map.
Doublelift's flash in that fight was incredible. He flashes over the wall for that Gnar ult. That was so good.
We just talked about the way they win is if they get a Gnar ultimate and Doublelift knocks it away. TSM wants to continue this push, but have they overstayed their welcome?
Ooh, you gotta watch out for the poison. Hanser back in as well. He wants Sneaky. It's gonna be the first kill picked up, and he will knock it away as Doublelift shuts him down from long range. You've still got 4 alive for TSM as Biofrost runs down the map.
Jensen's ult is back, though.
C9 survive it, but TSM up 12,000 now. 2 of the inhibitors are gone. It's getting better and better for TSM.
Just a flurry of action there, but with the 2 inhibitors opening up, will be a boon for TSM since they already have 4 elemental drakes with the Elder on the way. That's super hard to defend now with 2 inhibitors down, but that fight was pretty crazy.
Really was. Impact making a lot of difference there for C9, keeping it close, winning the duels on the top side of there. But still, just the damage dealers here for TSM so strong, and Hanser always threatening Jensen in the backline. Just has been playing out of his mind.
Definitely playing wonderfully. The Guardian Angel not far away from him as well. Just needs the combined cost at about 500 gold. And TSM saying the way we're going to close this game out is taking a nice, quick Elder Dragon, it looks like. They've had Biofrost sitting in this jungle for a while, making sure they have the wards.
And it's interesting that C9 has been able to push out the bottom lane, so all they would need is Sneaky to push up the mid to have a chance of contesting this Elder Drake. Even with a mountain, it doesn't necessarily disappear. Cassiope would be pretty good at it. They would have to go now if they want to stop this.
I think C9 needs to take this risk to try to do it. They're falling too far behind. They can't afford to give it over.
Meteos would have an angle to try a steal, and it's all about the Vel'Koz ultimate. Hanser there's his own. Here's the fight. Meteos is close.
Smoothie's already dead. There's the first kill. It's TSM playing it right. They're doing the dragon bait. They know Cena has to take the risk. They know they've got to show up for this fight, so they peel off at half health, going for the kill. 1 already gone, looking for a second. Hanser nearly in range of impact, but can't quite land the slow, and that means C9 just running into their base, but Jensen can't run fast enough. The tentacles don't get him out there. So now 5 versus 3. Hanser looking for another, pushing the wave in, and Impact can't quite stop it all, it looks like.
And this could actually be the final push. They've been able to kill enough people. They're keeping Impact away from the base. It's a two-man defense attempt here for C9.
4v2 to close out the game. Meteos rooted up. Guardian Angel gonna go down. He's been dropped already. Here comes the final Nexus turret. Here comes the series tie-in game win. Bjergsen tanks the arrow. Doublelift is legendary on this Jhin. When he got killed in lane last time, he's the carry in this one. And game 2 goes to TSM.
8-0-6 for Doublelift on the Jhin. An incredible performance as him and Bjergsen really were putting out so much damage, and Impact was just, Monster rather, who had massive impact going on to Jensen in every single team fight.
Yeah, and the resiliency of both of these teams is going to be tested. We clearly have a series on our hand. After being solo killed in mid lane and losing a 2v2, Bjergsen and Doublelift go unkilled in the entirety of game 2 to come and even up these series. That is how you answer back after a tough game 1.
Absolutely agree, and TSM also just looking like the TSM we expected before playoffs ever happened. Doublelift saying nerves got to them and they won too slowly against CLG. It didn't look like that trademark TSM aggression. Game 1 also a bit shoddy, losing lanes. That's not typical for TSM, especially not for players of this caliber. But game 2 looked like they never missed a beat. That was standard 2016 summer TSM League of Legends, and it looks great.